Okay, so a systems of equations is just going to be two or more equations, and they're going to be linear, which means it's a straight line. And we just talked about where the solution is. The solution is always going to be where it overlaps. But this time, since it's just an equation and there's no shading, it's going to be an ordered pair. So your answer is always going to look like x comma y. It's just the ordered pair or the point on the graph that makes all the equations in the system true. It's where it intersects or crosses. And what form does it always have to be in for us to graph it? Yep, y has to be by itself. It's in slope-intercept form. So down at the bottom of this page, we're going to look at three types of examples for graphing systems of equations. So sometimes when you have a system, you're going to have different types of solutions. So for this first graph, how many times does it cross? Just once. So this is one solution. So if it's going to be one solution, the slopes have to be different. They cannot be the same. Because remember, you have two equations here, so you're looking at the equations in slope-intercept form. If the slopes are different, you're going to have one solution. The intercepts can be the same or they can be different. It does not matter. For this second type, what kind of lines are these? Parallel, so will they ever cross? So if our solution is where they cross, do we have a solution here? This one is no solution. If we look at the slope of these lines, if they are parallel, they have to have the same slope. For their intercepts are always going to be different. Because if they had the same exact slope and the same exact intercept, what would be true? They'd be the same exact line, right? That's this last one right here. You only see one line. That's because it's the exact same line. They're two lines sitting on top of each other. So the slopes are the same, and the y-intercepts are also the same. If it's the same line, do they cross? Yeah, they cross like the entire time, right? So how many solutions are there? It's infinite solutions or infinitely many solutions. They cross the entire time. So every point on the line is going to be a solution if they're the exact same line. All right, so on the back would be page 20. We're just going to do some examples. And it's pretty simple. What we're going to do is graph two lines on the same exact coordinate plane. So we're going to start with this one. It's just a review of graphing. So where do I start? -2 on the y-axis. My slope is negative, so do I go up or down? Down 1, right 4. If I can't go down into the right, then I can go up into the left. It's an equal sign, so I know it's going to be a solid line. For my next equation, where do I start for this one? Positive 1. My slope is negative, so I go down and to the right. Very straight line. Okay, so you can see the point where they intersect or where they cross. Our solution is always written as an ordered pair. So what's our x value? 4. And our y value? So that's your answer. Moving on to number 2. We start by graphing the y-intercept. Our slope is positive 3 over 2, so we go up 3, right 2. We can't go up and right, so we go down 3, left 2. Down 3, left 2. Your next equation starts at negative 3. That's your y-intercept. And your slope is negative 1. So down 1, right 1. Up 1, left 1. Our solution is where they cross. So what's your x-coordinate? Negative 2, and your y? Okay, go ahead and graph number 3 and number 4. Okay, so what's your answer to number 3? No solution. Because they never cross their parallel lines. Could you have known the answer to number 3 without graphing it? So without graphing it, all you had to do was look at the slopes. Since the slopes are both 3, 4, you know that it's going to be a parallel line. It's going to be no solutions. All right, look at number 4. First thing you look at is the slope. Do we have the same slope? No. So on number 4, if we don't have the same slope, how many solutions are we going to have? You need to look back on the front of your note page. We're going to have one solution. That means we have to graph it to figure out what the solution is. So go ahead and graph number 4 if you haven't yet. When you do this, make sure that you're putting it in parentheses, because in a second you're going to do a delta math, and if you don't put it in parentheses, it's not going to count your answer right. So it is 2, negative 1 that you should have gotten as your solution. Just make sure it goes in parentheses when you type it. So I'm going to show you your delta math, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you're going to answer these, because there's 3 different sections. So your graphing systems is your assignment, and as you can see, there are 3 sections in it. So the first one is pretty simple. Everything is already in slope-intercept form for you, so all you're doing is graphing it. So I start at negative 2, up 1 over 2, and then I start at negative 6, I go down 3, right 2, and I see where it intersects. Then for my solution, I have to put it in parentheses. It will be negative 2 as my x value and negative 3 as my y value. So you have 5 of those. After you do 5 of those, then you're going to go to level 2, and you only have 2 of these that you have to do. But as you can see, one of them is in slope-intercept form. So that one's easy. This second one is not. So how do I get it in slope-intercept form? Solve for y. So I subtract 5x from both sides. I'll get negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. And then I divide everything by negative 2 to get y equals 5 over 2x minus 5. Then I graph that one. And I get my solution and I still type it as an ordered pair inside parentheses. So that is 4, 5. So you have 2 of those. And then your last section is just determining the number of solutions. This is really easy if it's in slope-intercept form. Is mine in slope-intercept form? So you know how to make it really easy? Is you open a new tab, go to your Desmos graphing calculator. And the really cool thing about Desmos is for you to graph something, it needs to be in slope-intercept form, right? For Desmos to graph something, it doesn't. So you can just type it in. X plus y equals 5. It graphs it for you. Then you go to this one, negative 5x minus 4y equals negative 18. You can split screen yours. Okay, so are these parallel lines or are they the same line? Nope. So we know that they're going to cross somewhere. They cross right here. That means how many solutions do we have? 1 solution. So you have 5 of those. So go ahead and get started on your Delta Math, and you should be able to finish it today.